minister came to her funeral with a lot of remorse. On the way back, a cat caused a butterfly effect. The car crashes into a barricade and dies, but as the heart-shaped pattern appeared on his collarbone, he was reborn 10 years ago, on the 7th day after Jaewon's rebirth. Elevator on their first day of work. He was in a trance for a moment. After all, they were separated in their past lives, so he has to do everything he can to reverse Jaewon from drinking his coffee. He even called him to the rooftop in the name of work.
꼭 먹어버릇하는 게 좋아요.
In her previous life, Ji-won died because of her husband's murder, but Minister Yu's kindness was misunderstood by Ji-won. He even pulled out a sundae, which reminds her of her past life, when she was humiliated at a classmate's party. In order to stop Ji-won from being humiliated, Mr. Yu asked him to save the day, but he's had a crush on Ji-won for years, and even confessed his love for her in public. Seeing that the situation was about to get worse, he immediately called Ji-won and used the conference as an excuse to break them up. But the lowest ranked person who can attend a new product launch is an executive. Jaewon's position doesn't even qualify. Mr. Yu had already thought of that.
의견을 지지해줘요.
So he told him that there's only one person who can do what he needs to do. This relieved Jaewon's nerves, but when he saw the new product, his nerves disappeared. But when it's a new product, there are people who are against it. He was one of them. It's just that Jaewon's impression is that, in the future,
뭘 안 해?
we all know what this action means, but the director was afraid that the audience wouldn't get it and explained it.
나도 이 사이트에 접속 안 해본 게 아니야. 괜찮기 무슨 혼자 한 거밖에 없더만.
Soon after the launch, Minister Yu insisted on sending Ji-won home. He tried to tell her that her future husband and best friend would betray her, but she's not good with words. In the end, she couldn't say anything. When they were about to arrive at Jaewon's house, they saw a scummy man. Ji-won was so scared that she flattened her seat, so she didn't get caught by her fiancé. But this action made Mr. Yu happy. Even when he realized his best friend was there, Ji-won did the same thing. He couldn't contain his happiness any longer, and the corners of his mouth almost went to his head. But it was Jaewon's best friend who was also happy. He didn't wait for Ji-won, but he waited for his comeback. At tonight's reunion, Ji-won exposed his lies. All of his classmates who were cheated on by Ji-won started to sneer at him, but her best friend didn't realize her mistake and blamed Ji-won for everything. When she tried to call Ji-won, she couldn't get through. And now Jae-suk's fiancé is born. It's a perfect opportunity for revenge. Ji-won changed the password. They couldn't get in, so they had to talk at the door. My best friend took the opportunity to cry and then leaned forward, just in time for the scum to see a white light. The next step is to increase the distance. However, my girlfriend overestimated the nature of the scum, thinking that it is only good to start when you are slightly drunk. But she didn't realize that he's not strong enough. He'll be gulping in his mouth in no time. The next moment, his chopsticks go into his mouth. Meanwhile, Ji-won suddenly receives a call from the school bully, but before answering, he has to kiss her throat. Hello, sir. There's no doubt that the two of them are in love with each other. The content of the call was completely uninteresting, but he wrote Ji-won a love letter, and it was rejected. That's why he hasn't contacted her. But Ji-won didn't remember receiving the love letter, and she never wrote him back.
우리 얼굴 볼까? 그 답장이라는 거 가지고 와줄 수 있어?
The next day, when the beautiful Ji-won showed up at the office, everyone immediately looked shocked. After all, no one could have imagined that an ugly duckling could really become a white swan. The one who was most excited was the scummy guy. After all, Ji-won was still his girlfriend at the moment. If he wasn't still at the office, he'd want to start right now. Such a bunch of stupid female employees. It's a headache for Mr. Yu. But the man who said it didn't mean it. He dragged Ji-won outside the office. He asked her why she met with the minister yesterday. Ji-won could only explain that it was because of work. After all, there's a big difference in their status. Ji-won wouldn't even think twice about it. But the scumbag wanted to remind her. He even reminded him that Minister Yu was looking at him very gently, citing a man's sixth sense. This made Ji-won realize that she had just woken up from a dream, and all she could think about was Minister Yu's gentle look. But the scumbag guy stuck his big face on her right now. The next moment,
어떡해! 화장실 제자 어떡해! 화장실 빨리 가봐! 어떡해!
Ji-won was able to escape for a while, but he still had his girlfriends to deal with. After all, last night's class reunion was a test of who has the thicker skin.
말 실수했을 줄 몰라도 알잖아. 나 잘 헷갈리는 거. 어제는 화가 좀 났었는데 날 이상한 애 만들어서 괴롭히고 싶은 게 아니라면.
The reborn Ji-won is no longer the same dumb white girl. Now, not only is he playing the insinuation like it's pure love, he even lied that the scum has made a lot of money from stock trading. The two of them will soon consider buying a house. This has successfully aroused the greed of her best friend to seduce him. But now Ji-won has a good man in front of her, doesn't know what to choose. He hears the girl yelling. This makes Ji-won feel lucky. He's lucky to have a real friend. But just as he's about to say hello, Minister Yu appears out of nowhere. He even acted very close to the girl. It reminded him of what happened to the future girl. She was fired from the company because of a scandal with Mr. Liu. Now it seems her being attracted to her best friend's boyfriend. But then, she was worried. After all, both of them are genuine people. She doesn't want anything to happen to either of them. But Jaewon's worries are unfounded, because the girl and Mr. Yu are actually siblings. They're even the grandsons of the chairman of the Zaibatsu. The granddaughter came to the company just to sharpen her skills, but even though Ji-won was liked by both of them, she didn't get the chairman's approval. When he found out that his grandson refused to marry the family because of a girl, he organized an investigation into Ji-won. The results are now in a book,